I have a confession, okay? Gather around, children, because the jig is up. I am a D&D artist who has never played a full campaign. Which, if you're new here, is incredibly ironic because I'm an artist who primarily works with D&D/TTRPG players. She's an imposter! I thought this would be a really fun topic to dive into, talk about my limited experience with one-shots and what's been keeping me from doing a full campaign, because I really want to. I do really want to play D&D. I just have some things holding me back. And before we get in, I am yet again trying a new thing with the mic. I really don't love the sound of it on my actual shirt, much like it's supposed to be because it's a lapel mic, and I've always been very annoyed when people hold the lapel mics because it's supposed to go on your collar, but I do think it sounds a little bit better, so Sting is holding it up for us. Everyone say hello, Sting. Thank you, Sting. I also have Sting tattooed on my arm. I have Sting here, and I have the Master Sword here. Sybil is clawing her way up the chair. I can hear it. Are you coming up here, or are you just gonna scratch? My limited experience with actually playing D&D has been 3 separate one-shots. Did I like these experiences? Yes and no. I want to talk about the things I feel like are kind of further inhibiting me from playing a full campaign. The first one was played with a group, I think, of like 7, and then the second one was the same group of 4, so the DM and then 3 players, and my husband was involved in both of them. Now, for all 3 campaigns, the characters were just made for us. We did have a choice to choose the class, and the first one, I believe we were also given the chance to name our characters, but otherwise all of the stats and everything else was determined for us. And at the time, I did really like the idea of that because I was really intimidated about like, how do I go about making a character and figuring out their stats and everything. Like, I just didn't know how to do that because I had never played. That seemed like, oh, this is probably a really easy route to go in for trying it out for the first time. This is where I've learned that I don't actually like that, because when it came to combat and not understanding combat, not understanding the stats and like, roll this one and add this, and I'm just sitting there like, what do you mean? If I was to play another one-shot, I definitely want to figure out like the character stats and everything myself, because seeing that for the first time on the first night that you're actually playing was really intimidating. It made me really anxious, and you know, there's kind of this expectation that you are doing things quick enough even with other new players. And so if I was taking a little too long, I started feeling really bad and anxious and just kind of mentally started shutting down a little bit. So that is something I definitely want to do differently the next time I do a one-shot, and then of course with a full campaign. I need to learn to just do the character stats and everything myself and stop being such a baby about it. But the other thing that was really intimidating to me, that I'd say is probably the most intimidating, is the role playing. As a kid, I really enjoyed doing theater stuff as long as I had a script. I loved acting, I loved pretending to be another character, but I always felt really, really nervous with improv. I feel like I really struggle to be witty in the moment and to be able to just like pull things out of my butt. That's something I really respect about other players and like actors and stuff, is the ability to just do that on the spot. I feel like I've yet to acquire that skill. That is one of the biggest components of D&D, is the immersion of role playing, really becoming your character and living through your character and the relationships and everything with it. And every single time that I've played these one-shots, I have really struggled to just get into role playing. I do know that part of the reason I really struggle with improv is because I am very anxious and I overthink everything, and I know overthinking it just kind of ruins improv. I also am very socially anxious, so adding those two together makes improv kind of tricky. Aside from just like my general social anxiety and my overthinking and fear of improv and feeling like I'm gonna sound really cringy, I think the biggest reason I really struggled to get into role playing every single time I did a one shot was I didn't know my character. Every single time the character was made for us. So I went into every one shot not knowing anything about the personality of my character. I didn't have a backstory. I believe that both DMs have basically said like, don't worry about coming up with a backstory. It's like not super necessary for a one shot. Honestly, like if I do a one shot again, I want to come up with a backstory because I went into it with not any improv skill, not knowing anything about my character and their personality, and because of that, it made it really hard to get into character. I found that most of the time we were playing these one-shots, like I just wasn't really role-playing, I was just talking as myself, felt nervous and didn't know how to get into character because I wasn't familiar with the characters. Basically, I was meeting them for the very first time and I had nothing about them established. And I feel like that took a lot of the fun out for me because I was already anxious about improving, and then I feel like I kind of put myself in a position where I had no tools to work off of. And I'm sure all my seasoned D&D players are looking at me like, you dumb hoe. Of course you're gonna struggle role-playing when you don't know anything about your character. So this is something I've definitely learned going forward for the next one-shot, or obviously the next campaign, is I really want to fully immerse myself into the character. Make sure that I have a backstory sorted out, that I work through their personality, their values, the maybe pre-existing relationships they have outside of the campaign, what drives them. As much as I did have fun with those one-shots and I liked the storyline of them, it was fun to hang out with friends, I felt like I was just really nervous the whole time and kind of gypped myself of being able to actually enjoy what a campaign should be able to offer. So when it comes to character creation, it's funny because there is actually a character that I've been working on for a while that I'm pretty sure the next time I go to play either a one-shot or when I finally get to do a full campaign, I'm pretty sure it's going to be this character. Her name is Winlin. For whatever reason, in the past month and a half, I've just had this creative surge to really work on her character. I designed her once, I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. I can't remember. I'll put up a picture I did of her character sheet turnaround years ago, and I hadn't drawn her since. Lately, I've been drawing her a lot more, but not only have I been redrawing her and kind of redesigning her, I've been writing notes about her personality and starting to write out her backstory. I also have found myself kind of acting as her in the privacy of my own home. Something about me is I am a verbal processor, and when I'm alone, I do talk to myself quite a bit, okay? I do a self-talk quite a bit. There was a comment left on one of my videos, and I'm pretty sure it was the one of me asking for tips, either with improv and role-playing, or it was about character creation. And there was someone, maybe multiple people, who were basically saying kind of think about how your character would react in scenarios you're going through. And I've been kind of doing that just in my everyday life. If I drop something, how would Winlin react to this? And that's been kind of fun. I feel a little silly sometimes doing it, but it's also felt kind of natural to do it. I also saw in one of those videos someone say, when you are making one of your first characters, and if you're really struggling with improv and role-playing, making your character pretty similar to your own personality so it feels a little more natural to roleplay. And that is perfect for Winlin, because Winlin does very much have a bit of a reservation with people. She's very careful with people. She kind of holds everyone at arm's length. But I've just been spending so much time lately developing this character and really having fun with it. I actually started writing out a scene between her and another character, and because I have put time into developing her, that also means I've been developing some other characters around her. Whether I use her for my next D&D character or she just always stays kind of like an OC, I've just really been enjoying it, and that's kind of sparked that desire again to want to be able to play an actual campaign. Putting aside the whole character creation thing, every time I've played, the 3 times I've played, it's been with friends, it's been with people I've been familiar with, and that's always been something I've seen online said is to play with people people you feel comfortable with. And again, I think it's just my overthinking brain, but I kind of almost felt a little bit more anxious playing with people I knew, because I was like, am I gonna sound really cringy trying to roleplay, and what if I'm not doing this right, and what are they gonna think of me? I especially struggled with the second one because it was just 3 of us. It was a smaller group, none of us had played other than the DM, and then my husband and I had done that one shot previously. My husband and my other friend were not role-playing at all, and so I felt really anxious about role-playing and didn't want to look like a dork or cringy. I know it's kind of one of those things that as soon as one person starts role-playing, it does make it easier for everyone else to do it. I just don't like being the initiator. And I've always told myself that if I'm going to play a D&D campaign, I have to play with people I know and I'm comfortable with. And I'm realizing maybe I do actually need to play with new people. That's always been something that has also scared me because I am socially anxious, and I also have this really weird anxiety thing with phone calls and video calls. Whenever I make a new friend group, I play Overwatch a lot, okay? And anytime I make a new friend group on there, it takes me a while to warm up to actually talking to them in voice chat. Like, I get so anxious and awkward when it comes to phone calls and video calls and stuff like that. I used to think it was an issue of not being able to like read people and see their body language and their facial expressions, but video chats also make me nervous. So that's a part of myself that I should probably explore a little bit more and figure out why I have this really stupid anxiety around phone and video calls. I know a lot of people do D&D over Discord and do it online because it is really hard to get a group of friends in person to play because we're all adults with schedules, and especially if you are an introvert like me, the idea of leaving your home is not always fun. It's interesting because I've also had like probably 4 separate clients, I think, reach out to me and say like, hey, I've seen your video saying that like you've never played a D&D campaign and like you've never had a chance to play with a group, feel free to join ours on Discord. And every time I've just politely declined, mainly because I've been really busy lately and I'm like, I don't know if I have the time to be able to do a weekly commitment like that right now. But it also has been a little bit because I just have that anxiety with new people and phone calls. So I am considering more and more joining an online group as long as they like understand I'm a new player and I'm going to be slow. That's also something that has really stopped me from joining campaigns because part of me wants to join a group with seasoned players so I feel a little bit more comfortable role playing, because if it's all new people who aren't role playing, I've done that and I felt really inhibited to also role play. So I really want to be able to play with a group of people who are comfortable with D&D, and also if I have a question, like I can ask them without feeling shamed. But I also don't want to really slow things down. I really don't want my inadequacies as a new player to prevent people from enjoying their campaign and enjoying their sessions. I really worry about being really slow and asking a lot of questions and almost breaking out of the immersion of the role playing to double check stuff because I'm new and I'm learning, which means I feel like I need to fully know everything going into it so that I'm not slow and I'm not like constantly checking my character sheet or constantly asking questions of like, what does this mean? What do I do? What are the combat rules? And so I feel really conflicted about that. And I know there's many resources online. I know I could probably really familiarize? Is that right? Soup brain. I know I could really familiarize myself with the rules online, but my experience of playing with other fellow new players who also are struggling to roleplay, I feel like it's just kind of like a vicious cycle of no one initiating that. I need my little bubbly extroverts around me who are very comfortable with improv and roleplaying. I have not only friends in my life who play D&D, who are DMs, and I also obviously have now met a lot of clients who play D&D, so I have a lot of different sources to be able to just ask questions, be like, how do I do this? At this point, as much as I have this long list of excuses of why I don't play, it really does come down to I just need to do it. And I know once I do it, I'm going to be like, why did I put this off for so long? Just like a lot of things in my life. I just need to do it. I know that I have the resources and the friends and the clients that I could ask questions about that would not be bothered at all for me to ask. I'm nervous, but I really want to be able to enjoy D&D. I really want to be able to do it. Every time I see, whether it's like YouTube videos or TikToks and Reels of D&D groups, I'm like, I really want to be able to experience that. As a kid, I always had a lot of adults in my life that were playing D&D, and so I would hear a lot of stories about their campaign, and then as I've become older and you see it online, I'm like, I just have this yearning, I have this thirst to play D&D, but I equally have a ginormous ball of anxiety that is just really stopping me from doing what I would like to do. I think I need to at some point just like set a goal for myself, set a deadline of like, you need to find a group by this day, or you need to like research how to do a character sheet by this day. And then once I have those pieces of information, I know I'll feel a lot more comfortable. Right now, it's just completely overwhelming because I'm nervous about many different facets. I'm nervous about not understanding the roles and the combat and the character sheets, and then I'm also nervous about the role playing and the improv. So I need to just kind of take one thing at a time, focus on like, okay, maybe figure out how do you go about actually making a character in the stats. Okay, next I need to learn about combat and what does this mean, and take one thing at a time and break it down. and I'll probably feel really silly afterwards for being so anxious about something that's not supposed to be anxiety provoking, but is that not just a canonically accurate anxious brain making things that should be fun very scary? I think I'm gonna wrap that up here. I feel like my thoughts have been really all over the place. This is gonna be super fun to edit, let me tell you. Super duper fun, because I feel like I kind of went in and out of points and like went back to points, and so we'll see how chaotic I feel editing this. But thank you for sitting and maybe enjoying this with me. Like I said, I think probably the time lapse I'm putting up is a drawing of Winland Cardo. Maybe I'll eventually do a little cheeky video about hello. That'd be kind of fun. I could do a video talking about like her backstory and my thought process and how she's also kind of changed over the years. Yeah, maybe that would be a little bit fun. I need to go. My butt is so sweaty. You didn't need to know that, but I'm telling you that anyways because we're friends here. And what is friendship if you don't talk about your sweat glands? Sweat glands and bowel movements. Okay, I feel like I'm gonna run out of storage. Goodbye.